Alright, so let's get right into it. There's a reason you see so many real estate investors build massive fortunes over time. And it's not always just about picking the right properties or getting lucky with market timing. It's because they use a powerful and totally legal tool that allows them to keep more of their money working for them. This tool is something the government put in place a long time ago, and it's called the 1031 exchange. Think of it as the ultimate cheat code for building wealth in real estate. It's what separates the amateurs from the pros, and honestly, it's not nearly as complicated as it sounds. Once you understand how it works, you'll wonder why you ever considered selling a property without it. So, why do investors absolutely love this thing? Simple. It lets you defer and potentially avoid forever paying a massive chunk of taxes when you sell an investment property. We're talking about capital gains taxes, which can easily eat up 15%, 20%, or even more of your hard-earned profit. Instead of handing that cash over to the IRS, a 1031 exchange lets you roll that entire amount, your original investment, all your profit, into a new property. This means you have way more capital to buy a bigger, better, more profitable property. It's like upgrading your car and using the full sale price of your old car, including all the appreciation, to buy the new one. It's a game changer. This strategy is how investors can scale their portfolios exponentially. It's a snowball effect. So, let's break down the problem that the 1031 exchange actually solves. Imagine you bought a rental property 10 years ago for $200,000. Over those 10 years, the property has done really well. The market went up, and now it's worth $500,000. You decide it's a great time to sell and cash in on that $300,000 profit. You sell the property, the money hits your bank account, and you're feeling great. But then, tax season rolls around. The IRS sees that you made a $300,000 profit, which is known as a capital gain. And guess what? They want their cut of that profit. This tax is called the capital gains tax. The exact amount you owe depends on your income level and how long you held the property, but it's a significant hit. For most people, long-term capital gains taxes are around 15% or 20%. So on that $300,000 profit, you could easily owe $45,000 to $60,000 in federal taxes alone. And that's not all. You might also owe state capital gains taxes, depending on where you live. And there's another tax called the net investment income tax, which can add another 3.8%. Suddenly, your $300,000 profit is shrinking fast. You could end up paying nearly $75,000 in total taxes. This creates a huge roadblock for investors who want to grow their portfolios. That $75,000 you just paid in taxes is money that is no longer working for you. It's gone. If you wanted to reinvest in another property, you now have $75,000 less to do it with. Now you might think this is some new, fancy tax strategy, but the 1031 exchange has actually been around for a very long time. Its origins go all the way back to the Revenue Act of 1921. That's over a century ago. The core idea back then was pretty simple and logical. Lawmakers understood that when a person was just swapping one investment for a similar one, they weren't actually cashing out or realizing a true economic gain. Their money was still tied up in a similar type of investment, so it didn't seem fair to tax them as if they had just received a big pile of cash. They were just continuing their investment in a different form. The original language was created to encourage people to keep their capital invested and flowing through the economy. One big development came in 1979, Starker versus United States. Starker established the delayed exchange. That change made the 1031 exchange far more practical and accessible. Congress codified that change into law in 1984, creating the modern 1031 rules we use today, including the famous 45-day identification period and the 180-day closing period. Alright, so how do you actually do one of these things? It might sound complicated, but if you break it down, it's a pretty straightforward process. The absolute most important thing to remember: you cannot, under any circumstances, touch the money from the sale of your property. If the cash hits your personal bank account even for a second, the exchange is void and you will owe the taxes. This is where a special third party comes in. This person or company is called a qualified intermediary, a QI. They are the gatekeepers of the process. Your first step, even before you close, is to hire a QI. So here's the process. First, decide to sell your investment property, the relinquished property. List it and accept an offer like any normal sale. In the sale contract, include language stating your intent to perform a 1031 exchange. At closing, the proceeds from the sale do not go to you. Instead, funds are sent directly to your qualified intermediary, who holds them in an escrow account for you. Once the sale is complete, 2 clocks start simultaneously. First clock, 45-day identification period. From close, you have exactly 45 calendar days to formally identify replacement properties. You can't keep them in your head. You must submit a signed, written list to your QI. Second clock, 180-day exchange period. You have 180 days from sale to purchase and close on one or more identified properties. Once you find the right property and get it under contract, your QI wires the funds they've been holding directly to the closing agent. That's it. The most obvious benefit of a 1031 exchange is, of course, the tax deferral. Not having to pay 15 to 25% or more in taxes on your profit is a massive advantage. This keeps your capital intact and lets you use the full power of your investment to buy your next property. This deferral means your money can compound faster, but the benefits go way beyond deferring taxes. A 1031 exchange is a tool for portfolio management and diversification. Own a single-family rental in a stagnant market? Sell that house and buy 2 duplexes in an up-and-coming city? Diversify across geographic locations, increase your total rental units and spread out your risk. Trade up in asset quality, and reduce management headaches. Own 3 aging single-family homes and tired of the maintenance and calls? Sell all 3, consolidate equity into one newer 10-unit apartment building. All units under one roof, fewer maintenance problems, maybe afford an on-site manager, simplified life, and an upgraded, more stable asset. Let's walk through a simple, relatable example to make this crystal clear. Meet Sarah. 10 years ago, Sarah bought a small condo in a growing city. Price, $150,000. Purpose, rental. Today, that condo is worth $350,000. She wants to sell it and buy something that generates more cash flow. If she sells normally, capital gain would be $200,000. After federal and state taxes, she might owe about $50,000. Net proceeds would be $300,000 to reinvest. That's a huge chunk gone off the top. Instead, she uses a 1031 exchange. She hires a qualified intermediary before closing. When the sale closes, the full $350,000 in proceeds go to the QI. Sarah never touches the money. Her 45-day identification clock starts. She spends the next few weeks searching for a new investment. She finds a duplex in a nearby suburb. Listed price, $450,000. She identifies the duplex in writing to her QI on day 30. First deadline met. Next, secure the purchase. She must close within 180 days from the sale. She gets a loan for the extra $100,000 needed. At closing, the QI wires the $350,000 to the title company. Section 7. The rules of the game. Don't get disqualified. The 1031 exchange is an amazing tool, but it comes with a very strict set of rules. Mess up one, and the entire exchange can be disqualified. You'll be hit with the full tax bill you were trying to avoid. First rule, the like-kind property requirement. It sounds restrictive, but for real estate, it's very broad. Like-kind refers to the nature or character of the property, not its grade. That gives you a lot of flexibility. Vacant land, apartment building, single-family rental house, commercial office building, farm, retail strip mall. The number one mistake by far is touching the money. I cannot stress this enough. Some investors think they can hold the sale proceeds in a separate bank account and not spend it. The moment you have control over the funds, what the IRS calls constructive receipt, the exchange is blown. Another huge mistake is missing the 45-day identification deadline. People underestimate how quickly that deadline arrives. They sell the property, take a week or two to celebrate, then casually start looking. Suddenly it's day 40 and they're scrambling. That scramble often forces them to overpay for a subpar property just to meet the deadline. Finally, 2 value-related rules to defer all taxes. Rule 1, purchase price of new property IIS must be equal or greater than your net selling price. Rule 2, reinvest all cash proceeds from the sale. Taking cash out, called boot, creates a taxable event. Rule of thumb, buy equal or greater value and roll all equity into the new deal. Section 9, final tips for your first 1031 exchange. If you're considering your first 1031 exchange, it can feel a little intimidating. But with the right preparation, it's a very manageable process. My number 1 tip is to assemble your team of professionals before you even list your property for sale. qualified intermediary, real estate agent with 1031 experience, CPA or tax advisor. Don't try to do this alone. My second tip is to plan, and plan some more. Start your search for a replacement property as early as possible. Competitive market. Getting under contract within 45 days is a huge challenge. Know the kind of property you want, know the market, know the price point. Have backup properties on your identification list. Always have a plan B and a plan C. Third, be realistic about your goals. A 1031 exchange is a powerful tool for building wealth. It's not magic. Finally, understand this is a long-term strategy. This strategy builds generational wealth. Now go out there and make it happen. Before you go, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Tap the notification bell. Got questions? Want to share your own 1031 exchange experience? Drop a comment below. We love hearing from you. Join our community of savvy investors. Let's build wealth together.